I was told not to wear a specific color to a wedding. Plus, all updates. I figured this also fits here and wanted to get some more opinions on if I'm an asshole. My oldest sister, Elaine, 31 female, is getting married in October 2022 to her fiancé of 4 years, Steven, and 35 male. I, 25 female, am the youngest of 4 sisters, although from my perspective, we have always been close growing up. Well, in May, Elaine asked our second sister, Gabriella, 29 female, to be her maid of honor, which is understandable because they have always been super close growing up. Me and my third sister, Celia, 26 female, expected to be bridesmaids too, however Elaine decided to include Steven's daughters, Tiffany, 12 female, and Sasha, 8 female, in the bridal party instead. Which we were obviously a little upset about, but understood that it was our sister's special day. Well, anyway, in July, I was visiting our mom while Elaine and Gabriella were also visiting. I overheard them planning the wedding and decided to ask about the wedding colors since I was and am still super excited for my sister to get married. Elaine told me she was thinking of something bespoke and non-traditional for her wedding dress, which I thought was cool and totally her style. Though I still assumed the color of the dress would be white, but had no way of checking since I wasn't a bridesmaid and any texts I sent to Gabriella were ignored because it's supposed to be a surprise. In August, I picked out a yellow dress online as I thought it was a safe bet color-wise. Before I bought the dress, I sent a picture to Gabriella, who once again left me on read. I asked Celia if she thought the dress was okay, and she agreed that since it's not floor length, it should be okay to wear to Elaine's wedding. The dress is a light yellow, knee-length, plain asymmetrical dress, and it was finally delivered last week. After it was delivered, I sent pictures to everyone, and then Elaine freaked out at me. She called me 7 times while I was at work. When I finally picked up, she yelled at me about how I was an awful sister and was stealing my new niece's spotlight at her wedding. Apparently Tiffany and Sasha were supposed to be the only ones wearing yellow because Elaine wanted them to feel special. I told Elaine that if I ordered another dress it wouldn't arrive on time, to which she told me to go to a bridal store and buy a different dress. I told her that I had already spent $50 on a new dress for her wedding and that I wasn't going to spend another $200 on a fancy bridal store dress. Elaine called me selfish and told me not to bother attending her wedding if I didn't change my dress last minute. Everyone in our family is saying I'm an asshole for wanting to take away attention from 2 little girls on their dad's wedding day and that I should just suck it up for my sister. So Ida. Edit, as so many kind people have pointed out, yes, I could go to Goodwill and find another dress. I have already suggested this to Elaine, but she rejected that idea because this is my wedding, not a Walmart. I also offered to wear an old homecoming dress, which is pink. This also wasn't good enough for Elaine because Gabriella is wearing pink and Elaine didn't want me to be dressed exactly like Gabriella, even though Celia is also wearing a similar pink dress. I could go to Goodwill in my spare time, but Elaine has said that she wants to pick out the dress so I don't ruin her wedding. As for dyeing the yellow dress, I don't want to spend $50 on fabric dye only for it to go wrong and then be down $100 with no dress to wear to my sister's wedding, which is in early October. Update. 3 days later. This is an update to my first post where I talked about my sister Elaine wanting her stepdaughters to be the only ones in yellow. Elaine's wedding was this past Tuesday, and as many people suggested, I wore my old homecoming dress, which was a pink knee-length dress. In the days leading up to the wedding, my mom and Elaine called me nonstop to tell me that if I wore a yellow dress I would not be allowed into the wedding venue and that Elaine should be the one to pick my dress from a bridal shop. As many people suggested, I told Elaine that if she wanted to pick my dress, she could pay for it. Elaine became extremely annoyed with me for my response as it was disrespectful to her personally and as a bride, and that I should be more understanding about how expensive weddings are. I reminded her that she was the one who wanted a large black tie wedding and that no one forced her to be so controlling over colors and outfits. Elaine then proceeded to block me via text, but clearly told our family what I said because I continued to receive texts from our mom and Gabriella who told me I was rude and that wedding planning is stressful and I should be more accommodating. I told my mother and Gabriella that if Elaine wanted to be so controlling about my dress that she could pay for it or I would wear my old homecoming dress. That shut both my mom and Gabriella up and I didn't hear anything. else about the topic of dresses from them until the morning of Elaine's wedding. On the day of Elaine's wedding, I waited for 10 minutes while my mother refused to send me the directions to the wedding venue because she didn't know how. Eventually, I gave up on my mom and asked Celia to send the directions instead because clearly our mom wanted me to miss the wedding. At this point, I was considering not attending the wedding at all, but I figured if I attended that my family couldn't say that I lacked effort or was being petty towards my sister. When I arrived at the wedding venue, most of the guests were already there. As I said, Elaine planned to have 100 people at her wedding, and since she hadn't specified that no one should wear yellow, there were at least 10 people present dressed in yellow, one of whom was Stephen's mother. Well, anyway, the real drama started when the rest of our extended family arrived at the wedding. My mother's brother began talking to me and said that he was glad I managed to get a new dress and that yellow wasn't my color anyway. So I asked him if he thought it was appropriate for his sister, my mother, to wear white to her own daughter's wedding, which he didn't reply. I got a lot of dirty looks from other family members and mean comments about how cheap I was and how much audacity I had to ask the bride to pay for my dress. At that point, I figured I could suck it up for a few more hours just to see Elaine get married and that I could then drop off the wedding gift at the reception. Well, at the wedding reception, Elaine came up to me and pulled me aside. She told me that since she didn't think I would come to the wedding, that she had canceled my meal and that I owed her $110 if I wanted to eat at her wedding, since it cost her $110 per head to book. I asked her why she had anticipated her own sister not attending her wedding, and she made out like it was my fault. I told her that I didn't have to deal with this, and if this was how she wanted to be, that she could consider herself no longer my sister. I left Elaine's wedding immediately and took my gift with me, just a bottle of wine and a card. My family have texted me non-stop about how petty and jealous I am of Elaine, etc. So Reddit was right, my sister was trying to exclude me from her wedding. Thanks for that. I will now be going no contact with Elaine and my mother for their favoritism. What do you guys think? Let's discuss in the comments. Follow for more stories.